I have been in love 3 times in my life. None of them were with my ex-husband, and none of them were a physical relationship. So, see if I could fit it in 5 minutes. Here goes. The first one was John Paul Ford. He was a substitute teacher at my junior high. Before there were middle schools, they were called junior highs. So, I would go and seek him out. It was very sweet and innocent, and talk to him. It was a really complicated time in my life, and he was someone who would listen. He wasn't bad looking either, so that helped. So the time passed. I was in high school, and then I graduated, and I ran into John, and we talked, caught up, and he reached for a kiss. It was the daydream I had all during those years since I had last seen him. But I got scared, and I turned and walked away. But I learned from John that love is someone you enjoy talking with, spending time with, and just being with. And I'm eternally grateful for that. Then the second love of my life happened. I had to go back just a little bit. I had married a guy I didn't love to escape the abuse that happened at night that wasn't acknowledged during the day. And we got pretty far. We went from California all the way to Florida, so that was pretty good. But landed in his hometown, a little town in Illinois. And I went to college and became my lifelong dream of a teacher. Got hired the first year, not realizing that's pretty lucky. Took everything for granted. So we thought, now's the time to buy a house. He had very expensive taste. We looked at a lot of stuff that was out of the price range. Looked at a lot of fixer-uppers because that's the practical thing to do, but found a really nice middle-of-the-road house. And a week later, after we were settled in, Pam and Tom moved in. And Pam taught in the same school district that I did. She was first grade, I was kindergarten. We were at different buildings, but we were best friends. We both had crappy childhoods. We both had less than great marriages, and we were both ready to start a family. And on my part, I didn't really care who it was with. I just wanted a baby. So we got pregnant around the same time, went walking every night. I was due a month before. So my water broke. Went to the hospital, all set to do the natural childbirth. But I didn't know my mother-in-law planned on staying the whole day in the room with us. You're supposed to wait outside. So I was always very uptight around her, and I was trying to pretend like the pain hadn't really started. So my doctor walks in and says, "How are we doing?" And I burst into tears. And he says, "How about an epidural?" And I nod my head. And a while later, Margaret Grace was born. Meg for short, my favorite character from A Wrinkle in Time. And Pam and Tom visit us that night, knowing that their turn was a month away. And then the next morning, we get a phone call, and it's Tom. And they're in the hospital, and they're having a baby. And I said, "No, they're not. Give me that phone." And I talked to Tom, and sure enough, they're in the hospital having a baby. So I visit Pam that night, and I meet Zoe Grace. And I said, "Pam, how'd the labor go?" She was always, I knew it at heart, much tougher than me. So she says, "I said, owie, 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 and I had the baby." So 3 years pass, our daughters are growing up together, and our school district is a really small rural one, so the numbers go down. So Pam is told, "You are teaching 4th grade when next year starts." She should have been studying all that summer. She didn't. She had a 3-year-old. I wouldn't either. So then the numbers shift, and kindergarten's getting low, and I get pregnant with my second child, and Pam never asked anything of anybody, and she asked me to talk to administration and just let them know what the scoop was. I was having a baby. I was kind of burnt out on the whole work family, taking care of everybody and everything, I couldn't juggle it. So I talked to him, and I said, the thing that makes sense is for, me to teach fourth grade, and screw the rest. And another friend had a different idea that would have worked, but that's what ended up happening. And then right before school starts, Pam finds a lump in her breast, and she tells me. And it had been there for a month, and she couldn't go to the doctor because Tom screwed up and forgot to turn in some paperwork. I have never been so angry at anyone. And Pam died, and I was left with a hole in my heart that I couldn't, even with doctors and medicine, find a cure for. So we moved to Wisconsin. I'm rushing it because of the time. And I meet another Tom, and he had lost his wife to an aneurysm. Thing was, they slept in separate bedrooms because Tom snored. So can you imagine, I could, walking in to find the person you love dead, you know, good, bad day, whatever you were expecting, it suddenly got awful. But Tom took care of the dogs they had. He went to work, and he lived each day, and he talked about Judy. And Tom was the third love, and I learned how to live because I was his neighbor. Thank you.